So here's the real mystery. How do real MLMers like us, who didn't cheat and only bug family members and friends, who want to grow a profitable home business, how do we recruit A players into our downlines and create extra incomes, yet still have plenty of time for the rest of our lives? That's the blaring question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Steve Larson, and welcome to Secret MLM Hacks Radio. So I decided to do this podcast literally because somebody wrote into our support last week. Actually, a lot of you did, asking if they could buy our product. And I'm recording this slightly out of shock. I started this podcast back in 2017 when I realized that I was working for Russell Brunson at the time as his funnel builder at ClickFunnels. This is before I went back as fractional CMO of ClickFunnels for a while, which is super fun too. And it's interesting. I went and I knew that I wanted to create a podcast that would be a little bit more, I gotta be so careful how I say this. Basically, and I know this is, it's not true now, but it was true back then. I went through tons of the podcast material and episodes that were currently available at the time, and they were garbage. They were just, for the most part, not all of them, but 90% of them were just things like, here's how to mind control somebody into your downline. Here's the secret phrase that forces them to join you. And it's like, first of all, no, like that's not how that works. And secondly, like it's kind of, the internet is not about tricking people, and so I saw a huge gap. I saw a big gap. There's a big gap in the marketplace for someone to start creating content that was actually viable, reliable, helpful, and modern. There was tactics and strategies that were not stuck in, the 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s. I mean, I ended up going and so since 2017, I ended up growing a downline of 1,400 people pretty much without talking to anybody. And it's a huge point to this episode. All right. So please know I'm not here just to talk about myself on this, but I am trying to document just really quickly the journey that this podcast has taken, because it went in a direction and this entire project went in an area that I was never planning on. And I thought I was just going to do like a cute little podcast and this, hey, I hope that people can, I hope that people can enjoy it, and maybe I can share some cool stuff. And instead, what ended up happening is I didn't have a product to sell at this time. When I started the podcast, I just was podcasting, and I was dropping 3 different podcasts out every single week. And I did that for about 6 months, at least, if not more. And 2,000 people ended up joining my email list for just this little mini course that I had set up. Which blew my mind. 2,000 people in 6 months. And then from that, I was like, hey, I'm thinking about putting this little course out to teach you guys how I've been doing all this. Are you guys interested? 400 people raised their hand and said, I am absolutely interested. Please sign me up. And I was like, are you kidding? I just was blown away by the response. I did not think that it was going to be that many people that fast out of the gate. I mean, it exploded. In the first 3 months, 250 people, I think that was the numbers, took the course. In the first year, it was almost 1,000. In fact, it was 1,000 people by 13 months in to having the course available for people. And then what was even crazier about that is all the success stories. I mean, they were not a small deal. In fact, I've got them right here. Let me show you. And I promise that by me sharing these, I'm not trying to pitch you. I'm trying to go, wow, look what we did in 8 years as a community. All right. And network marketing on the internet has changed dramatically in the last 8 years, which is partly why I'm teeing this up, because I want to tell you something cool. But I also want you to know like where it all comes from. So I remember literally the very first couple who came and took that program. I'm reading it right here. It said, hey, following this took months of learning curve away. We set up the system on a Sunday. We turned it on Monday and had somebody in our downline on Tuesday. And I was like, that's so freaking cool. There's another guy. He's like, we had 6 people join a downline in a single day. 41 people enrolled last week. Another lady said, in 3 weeks of launching, I had 200 people join me in my downline. We sold $27,000 of product just to our warm market. It is ridiculous. There was one dude who took his team volume in 7 months. He took his team volume from $8,000 a month in team volume to $150,000 in team volume. And I haven't really ever shared these on the podcast. And for some reason, I don't know why. I just was like, that'd be so cool to pop up on Secret MLM Hacks Radio, which I've got a big ask for you guys in a bit here. I want to ask you guys some cool stuff, but it's part of the reason why I wanted to pop this back open and get just, wow. I mean, what you guys did. Our list is growing by 15 to 20 new prospects every single day. Just hit 6,700 people in our downline and qualified for top 25 income earner award. Like, what? I mean, it blew my freaking mind, guys. I'm so impressed with everything you guys have done. This stuff has exploded. It's been so fun to watch this program and this is a podcast, and I'm clearly talking about the program. I'm not trying to sell you guys. I'm blown away. Like, look, if you are still acting like network marketing does not involve the internet, you are kidding yourself. And frankly, about 6 years behind, right? Like, wake up. It's not a belly-to-belly industry in the old way. It's still belly-to-belly. And I think when people get really struggle with this concept of like, I'm going to automate so many things in my business like Steve's showing me, and then I'm going to remove the human-to-human element. And it's like, that's not true. That's not true at all. Let's see. Thank you. I purposely joined every company on the planet to find answers. No one seemed to have it. Every upline leader and corporation never seemed to give me a straight answer on how to actually market. And that's one of the biggest. That was a great comment from someone who used what we were doing. And that's one of the hardest parts about it, is that it's not that these network marketing companies don't want you to do it. Most of them just don't know how. In fact, for probably like 2 years after I put out the Secret MLM Hacks program, I started easily, without contest, the number one type of business that was asking for consulting from me was network marketing and multi-level marketing companies. The CEOs, I would go in and I would consult their, and it's just, I mean, I had no idea that this would ever take off like the way it did. Let's see. I just got my first sale this morning from a tweak you recommended yesterday. Sweet. Anyway, I'm not going to go through every single one of these. We've collected, I don't know, probably 100 of these. That's what I like about it too, is that this hasn't been a thing where it's like, hey, I've got to go, this is only for people who are like super techie. Like, most of these people are not techie. They actually don't know, they can, if you can use Facebook and you can click around, like, you got enough, this is a great one. This is one of the first people that ever, all because of your training, I'm selling 1 out of 3 people that I speak with now. Like, I mean, come on, that's awesome. Most people's close rates are not that at all. I just got my first sale. Thank you. It's a lot more clear now that I've been a maverick. That's right. We call ourselves the Mavericks. A few more and I'll shut up. So far, I have 4 people using the system that have earned the company's September acquisition incentive. The person that came through my opportunity funnel on Friday is having success with my product funnel. She acquired 2 customers on Friday. So people always ask, does it duplicate? And it's such a dumb question because it's the wrong question. The right question is, what system do I need? People don't duplicate. Stop, if someone had handed me the microphone, like maybe like this, but if I could speak like one thing to the entire network marketing industry, it would be to shut up about the duplication thing. And it's not that it's not sexy. It's totally sexy. The issue is that people are trying to duplicate the wrong thing. You can't duplicate a person. There's one of you. You know what I mean? There's one me. That's it. So does it duplicate? It duplicates if it's a system and if it's not a person. You can duplicate systems. You can't duplicate people. And so that's why it's sometimes a fool's errand to like try to get somebody else to do a working sales script in the exact same way as the next person, and they have to say it the same thing in the same way, and if you do that, it's gonna work. It's like, well, that's not always true. Like, personality matters, like if you're not, like maybe that person's super charismatic, maybe you're not, that's fine. That's one of the beauties of the internet, is it takes away a lot of that stuff. So I love this one. I was in the hospital this weekend. I had somebody join my team completely on autopilot. That's insane. It's sad to be in there, of course, but just made my first sale within 24 hours of launching. Anyway, I'm going to stop going through all these, but it was interesting. I put an email out, this is a couple of years ago, and I was like, hey, could you guys just tell me what kind of success you're having with this program? And we had 40 people respond in 24 hours of just all these ridiculously awesome experiences that people were having. Anyway, all right, I'll get to the main point here. So what ended up happening, I tried to shut Secret MLM Hacks down 4 times. And I said that once on stage, and somebody was, it's so funny, man. Since then, I've grown a lot. I don't scream into the microphone as much, but I do a lot more stage stuff. And I said on stage once, I was like, I tried to shut down Secret MLM Hacks 4 times, and someone was like, well, that's just a marketing tactic. And I'm like, no, I mean shut down. And what's ended up happening has been a really surprising thing. The first time I went to go shut it down, first of all, which was a stupid decision, and I'm so sorry. I had somebody kind of freak me out, and they were like, hey, what you're teaching is really, really working, and, be careful, and what if someone comes after you? And I was like, literally thousands of people are being recruited into, I don't care what company you're in. But I was like, thousands of people, and they're like, yeah, but and they were a doom and gloom person that I shouldn't have listened to. And I started shutting down Secret MLM Hacks, and I listened, and I shouldn't have listened. And, my support went nuts because people were like, hey, I was saving up for it, or I want that, or can I please go get it? And so I started doing like each year, just this little tiny, like open and close, hey, I'll Secret MLM Hacks. I'll let you guys have it for a little bit. And then I'm going to close it back down again. And it was a super scarcity mindset thing of me to do. And I want to apologize to the community for that. That was the wrong thing for me to do. Now, the benefit of doing that, though, is I started looking for more ways to do Secret MLM Hacks strategies in a way that may not, I don't know. I was just trying to train the corporate companies more. And so I ended up there was a different theology that I created, and it was much more Secret MLM Hacks itself, just, like the theology behind it. What it helps you do is it helps you see what gaps your network marketing company is actually leaving behind in terms of problems to solve. So it doesn't mean that your company's doing a bad job, but just every company has gaps. I call them follow-up problems. And if you've ever taken Secret MLM Hacks or want to, I'll tell you how to in just a second. But I talk a lot about that. Follow-up problems, right? So imagine the first time you ever held like a smartphone, right? Steve Jobs solved some problems for you, but he also gave you some problems. I don't know about you, but the first time I ever held an iPhone, I was like, how do you freaking use this thing? How do you make a call? What do you mean there's apps? Where are the buttons? You remember that? I mean, like the first time, right? I was that last generation that didn't grow up with any of this stuff. And I'm so grateful. I didn't get a smartphone until I was like 25, 26, something like that. And it's because a job made me that I was in. But you remember that? You're holding it. So thank you, Steve Jobs, for creating the iPhone and giving all these incredible solutions, but you also just gave me all these problems, right? You gave me all these problems. I got to figure out now. I got to figure out how to use it. There's follow-up problems. You mean I have to buy headphones again, right? Well, Steve Jobs comes along and he goes, hey, don't worry about the headphones. I decided to include headphones in the box. I'm like, oh, thank you for solving one of my follow-up problems. All right. And then I'm like, oh, how do I use this thing? He's like, don't worry about it. I got this thing called the Genius Bar. You're going to learn how to use it at these, right? And we got all these little mini courses, and trainers and influencers are going to teach you how to use the phone. Oh, thank you so much, Steve Jobs. Appreciate that. right? I don't know how to make a phone call. Hey, don't worry about it, right? You get my point. Is that there is a massive opportunity. This honestly right here is how I've made about $1 million in just affiliate commissions from other companies, not network marketing, just affiliates. I was just looking at the stats actually. I was like, holy crap. And it is because what I do is I see whatever product I am promoting and I fall out of love with it. And I look to see what the user error pieces will be. And then I just simply solve some of the follow-up problems. All right. So let's say that I'm an affiliate for Apple and for whatever reason they're letting me sell their iPhone. And I'm like, hey, you know what? There's headphones in the box. There's also the Genius Bar, but you get all that stuff when you buy from Apple. What I'm going to share with you is I'm actually going to share with you, I decided that I would load up all of my favorite audiobooks that have made me well over $10 million. And they're the books that I repeat over and over and over again. Okay, so I loaded those up on here. I also loaded up and saved in here in your favorites list all the contacts that I use to build the world-class assets that I do, even for 9-figure businesses every once in a while, like, when they hire me. Oh, wow, really? Also, with this phone, I've noticed that sometimes, if you're traveling, it's a little bit scary because you can run out of battery, and we use our phones for freaking everything now. So I included in here one of those battery packs, a traveling battery pack. Now you can actually, that's sweet, super cool. See how I'm solving follow-up problems or things that the customer would have to solve in order to get more use out of the product. Well, that's what Secret MLM Hacks. There's a lot more, right? That's like one little lesson. But that was one of the major premises of Secret MLM Hacks. Well, I love Secret MLM Hacks, and it works so well. And it's a strategy that I also learned by watching Russell Brunson, because I would help him do his affiliate promotions for other people's products. I'd be building the page. I'd be filming him do the pitch, I'd be writing the pitch on the whiteboard, and then he would turn around and pitch it. And you know what I mean? Like, I was there. So I watched him do this stuff, and I was like, that's freaking genius. I'm going to go do this into network marketing. And it just exploded in a good way. But it also freaked out with a bad part. It also kind of freaked out some of the network marketing companies a little bit. They're like, hey, you're like adding bonuses to our product. We don't totally love that. And so some companies are cool with it. Some companies kind of raised an eyebrow and they were like fine with it, but it was like whatever. And then some were just like, hey, you can't do that. And so it freaked people out. That was the other reason why I shut down Secret MLM Hacks. It still works. It's awesome. It's so powerful that it caught the eye of a ton of big network marketing companies. That was the other major reason why I was like, hey, maybe I should stop doing this. But it repeatedly, still to this day, is one of the top things people write in and say, could I go get Secret MLM Hacks? So instead, what I came up with was a better model that would make the network marketing businesses feel a little bit more secure and be happy to work with me, right? And so what I did is I came up with a model where instead of making changes and bonuses to the very products we're affiliating to, I decided that I would teach people the very specific style of product to go create that would make it so that you could make money even if nobody joined your downline or bought your network marketing product. And the beauty of this is it made it so that you were your own attractive character. You basically were building yourself up as a brand. And so people just took off with it. They loved it. And it was called Modern Downline. And it was much more of a modern approach towards growing modern downlines and still using the internet, using all the, but social media platforms now liked it also. And Secret MLM Hacks, they didn't always love, you know what I mean? Like, social media platforms have a tough time with network marketing a lot of times, right? A lot of times you can't go push it. So I'm like, well, how do we still use it for lead gen? Right? Just because a platform, like, I'm going to figure out how to get this done in a way that everybody's happy, right? How are the network marketing businesses happy, and how are the social media platforms happy, and then how are you happy as a distributor, where you can still grow a downline and get paid? And so that's really what Modern Downline solved. They are two different methodologies. They do work together. And for the last 3 or 4 years, I have sold them separately. Well, the reason why I want to thank whoever it was that reached out to our support like last week or 2 weeks ago or whenever it was. There was a lot of you guys that did, because it shook me. We were on our weekly team meeting and it shook me. And my awesome assistant, she was like, hey, just so you know, like one of the biggest questions we're getting asked right now is, can I buy Secret MLM Hacks? And I was like, are you freaking kidding me still? Like, it is the number. I've never, ever still, like, you understand, network marketing is not actually my main business. I built this as like just a fun thing to show some cool people some cool stuff, and it helped a lot, and team volumes exploded, and literally thousands of people have been recruited because of the methodologies they learned from my program, and I'm so proud of it. It helped a lot of people go, do their dreams. I'm so proud of Secret MLM Hacks, but it's not my real business. My real business is I'm a funnel builder, man. I'm co-authoring a book with Russell freaking Brunson right now called Dramatic Demonstrations, based on all this research I've done for the last 5 years. I'm a consultant. I have a mastermind that is awesome, and only 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs are allowed to come to it. Like that's what I really do. Network marketing for me, I kind of call it my hidden downline. And so when the person wrote in again this last, or not again, I don't know how many, a lot of you have, like, I call myself the capitalist pig. We have a big swag store. We sell you guys write in asking to buy Secret MLM Hacks or some of my network marketing products more, or I should say as much as, like you do it organically as much as the products where I'm spending money, like ad money, to get the attention of the market is. Does that make sense? I first noticed this pattern about a couple of years ago, and I was looking at how fast my network marketing list has grown. And I was comparing it to my list in every single one of my things. And dude, my list in this space grows about the same speed as the place where I'm spending all this time, money, and energy to grow and market. And it blows my mind. And I was like, so I feel like I've made a mistake. And I joined my downline.com. I turned that off for a long time. So, I kind of stopped recruiting, and, and I blame it on whatever you want to. There were certainly scenarios that I was just telling you about, but I also went through a bunch of crap on my own too. I went through a divorce that was pretty, not great. And I went through, just a lot of life crap, and so I don't know what it's been, man. In the last 6 months, I just feel like I'm back. I'm back, baby. And you can count on this podcast going to be keeping going. And I'm going to keep documenting my journey, because now, I'm like, you know what? Why don't I start a downline over from scratch, and I'll document that. And so that's what I'm doing. Is I've started a downline over. I'm not pitching you in it. If you love what you're in, stay in it. And my gosh, don't join me or even come figure out what it is if you like what you're doing. And I'm not pitching you, and that's not the reason for this. My only reason for this podcast is to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I kind of disappeared, and also this insanely valuable, very rare approach to recruiting, which actually celebrates the internet, go figure, right, is something that I've made kind of hard to get a hold of for the last couple years. I mean, not even a couple. I'm talking 5. You know what I mean? Like, it's been a while, man. Almost 3,000 of you got it in the first 3 years. Right? Around that area. Yeah. And since then, though, I mean, it's been a little rough. Like, and I'm saying a ton of people have written in saying, how do I get Secret MLM Hacks? And I'm over here going, maybe. Meanwhile, I'm reading testimonials that's changing people's freaking lives. And I'm like, and after a while, I was just like, man, I'm making a huge mistake here, and I have to apologize to everybody. And this is not, anyway, so I'm sorry. Secret MLM Hacks is going to be made available again soon. If you go to secretmlmhacks.com, it will be there, but I'm going to do something really cool too. I've always had people join Secret MLM Hacks and Modern Downline separately. And they were both, You had to buy them individually, but I'm actually bundling them now, and I'm going to bundle them from here on out. The benefits of me not going and selling this stuff for a long time has been that I have provided and produced these other programs that are just mind-blowing. And so you also get access to a bunch of that as well. So anyway, my goal is to provide for you more information, education, and value just on this podcast than the rest of your upline gives you, which I know I do. But my second goal is to literally help usher in the entire network marketing industry into using the internet the right way, where you're not posting stupid selfies acting like you're working out while you're at the gym. Working from home today. Ask me if you want my shake. Right? It's dumb. Right? But I'm going to teach you how to actually do this stuff. So I would love to hear from you. If you could DM me just on Facebook or Instagram, what I'm trying to figure out is if we should rebrand this podcast to Modern Downline Radio. That's the question that I'm looking at right now. Do I do this shift with just a major rebrand? Now I'm going to tell you something really funny, just as the guy who's been providing these courses. The first thing is that for some reason, people literally respond to Secret MLM Hacks as a title more than Modern Downline, which I did not think was going to be the case. I thought that it was going to be one of these scenarios where, I like the name Modern Downline more, but I don't know. Maybe keeping the name of the podcast, Secret MLM Hacks Radio, is going to be the same. I'm not going to go start a new show. I'm just going to either continue with the same name or change it, but it's going to be the same RSS feed, the whole thing. You're not going to have to go resubscribe to anything. It's going to be right here. You're in the right spot. But I'm going to document my journey in network marketing to my next 1,000 recruits. And I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'll tell you what I'm not doing. I'll tell you what worked. I'll tell you what didn't work. And that's the shot that I'm calling. And I've done a lot of network marketing shopping also over the last couple of years, looking around to see where I want to drop my anchor for the long term. I've joined probably 4 or 5 network marketing companies over the years, just like, hey, what about this one? What about this one? And I've been in enough of them to see like which ones really love it, which ones don't, which ones I love, which ones I don't, what types of products I love selling the most, which ones I don't. Which ones are easier to sell on the internet versus not, which ones need to not need me versus the ones that have to involve me. Like I'm this is trying to be an asset, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, guys, I'm excited and I'm really pumped by your enthusiasm. And I want to just reiterate that your enthusiasm is literally the reason that I've decided to come back and turn this all back on. So give me a little bit of time. SecretMLMHacks.com is the place to go check out the stuff. It's kind of the home base for things. SecretMLMHacksRadio.com actually has a really cool free mini course that will help you kind of learn more about how we treat this entire recruiting game on the internet. It's not the course. It's this little tiny mini course. It's like a primer, right? It just kind of gets you in the right mindset. Like, oh, okay, so you actually can use the internet. I'm like, yep. This is how we do it. And this is all the questions people always ask. Will my network marketing company let me do it? Right? If I can't post on Facebook, how am I supposed to? All the questions. Like, my goodness. I actually looked at the stats once, and over 50,000 people went to secretmlmhacks.com in like 4 years. We've seen the questions you're probably going to ask, is my point. So go to secretmlmhacksradio.com if you want to take a little primer to just kind of understand, like, wait, this works, right? First of all, second of all, if you're like, hey, I just want to check out a little bit more info on what this thing is that he's been doing for so long that everybody's been beating down the doors on, go to secretmlmhacks.com. I'm grateful for you guys. So thank you so much. It's meant a lot to me, and I'm back, baby. And it's because of you guys. So thank you so much. And I apologize for my absence. Excited. Be sure to subscribe if this is your first podcast. Listen to the first ones if you haven't either. There's some freaking gold in this podcast. Oh my gosh. I would start from the beginning. I want to apologize for Hypey Steve and my screaming into the microphone, but it is really good stuff. And I'm really looking forward to being here and serving you guys. If you could also let me know what are the topics you guys are struggling with. I'd like to be as helpful as possible with this. So tell me what it is that you guys are wanting, and I am here to serve. Awesome, guys. We'll see you guys inside the programs. Oh yeah, that was a good one. Hey, remember to leave feedback for me on iTunes. Part of today's challenge in MLM is knowing how to teach your downline all of this stuff, right? Would you like me to help you teach your own downline 5 simple recruiting tips for free? If so, go download the free MLM Masters Pack by subscribing to this podcast at secretmlmhacksradio.com. The course is free and it'll help explain to your team what I'm doing and what you're learning. It also gets sent straight to your inbox. Just go download it at secretmlmhacksradio.com.